until people get opportunities, they can't prove they can do it. And so opportunities have to come at the entry level. And so if you never get your first comedy, then you can't say, I'm great at directing comedies. You know, the first really strong woman I met was Sandra Bernhard, and she had just been in a movie that I loved called The King of Comedy, and was on David Letterman all the time, and was, you know, a very brilliant comedian, still is. And when I interviewed her when I was in high school, she talked about how men are in power and men want to stay in power. And I never thought about anything like that before as a kid, 15, 16 years old. And I think that is true. You know, I've been very lucky. I've worked very hard to find good partners for everything that I've done. I worked with Amy Pascal for a long time at Sony, and Donna Langley has been, you know, a guiding force, you know, for our movies like Trainwreck and Bridesmaids. And they were very excited from the get-go. There was never any question about whether or not we can do it. But there's a bigger issue, which is the entire industry encouraging women to write, encouraging women to direct? I think they know that there's a giant market there, and they're happy to serve it. But people need to get early opportunities so that those scripts exist. Sure, after Bridesmaids, everybody would like to have more Bridesmaids or more Trainwrecks. The reason why you haven't seen as many is because at the earlier stage, people aren't given the opportunity to learn how to write and direct, so that when they say, I want more of these, they have a stack of scripts ready to go. I saw Lena Dunham's movie, Tiny Furniture, and she made it for less than $50,000. It was gorgeous and hilarious and heartfelt. It was a perfect little movie. So I thought, I wonder what else she wants to do. And I contacted her and said, hey, can I help you with whatever you want to do? But she was able to prove she was a great director because she just raised her own money and shot a movie in her parents' apartment. And then there was proof, and everybody needs proof. And in an age where movies are much more inexpensive to make, and you can make a movie on your cell phone, I think a lot of those walls can come down. But they're not coming down because executives are giving them fantastic opportunities. They're coming down because now people can make a movie for $75,000. You need executives who say, I want a great story, I want a great movie, and that's all that matters. But people have theories. People won't go to that, and so they don't give you the money to make movies that don't fit into these columns that they've created. And they're completely arbitrary. But if you spend $200 million on one of these movies, instead of 100, you've probably lost 4 smaller dramas and comedies. And so the studios don't seem to be developing the Sidney Pollack movie. They're not doing Out of Africa anymore. They're not doing Silkwood. So those movies may be happening at much smaller budgets or not at all. And I think movies about women and more thoughtful movies, they have a harder time getting made. The people who have theories about what people always want are a disaster for the industry. People want great stories, and there can be a great story about anyone at any time. It's all about execution, it's all about heart, it's all about quality and passion. So you can't say before a movie's written, no, people don't want that. I don't know, do people want a movie starring Roberto Benigni about the Holocaust? Would you have said, like, you know what people want? A good Holocaust comedy. But he made an incredible movie that won Oscars and made hundreds of millions of dollars because it was good. And so I'm sure he faced a lot of people who said, don't do that. No one wants that. I don't know. Schindler's List made a lot of money. Anything can make a lot of money if it's great. And so to say, like, men don't want to see women, it's ridiculous. I think the hard part is that everyone's job is at risk at every moment. And so people are not playing the long game, they're playing the short game. So when there's a movie right in front of them, you know, they're going to go to the choice that makes them look like they didn't take a risk, most of the time. And you have to be a very strong executive and someone who feels pretty secure in their job to roll the dice. That's what's really scary about the business, because it's just people who don't know what they're talking about who control the purse strings.